I believe that when you look at professional learning as one of the key components of school improvement, you have to consider that professional learning involves all the adults that work in an organization. It isn't just teachers, it's administrators, it's board members, it's support staff. And in order for you to have a comprehensive, aligned program of professional learning that actually gets at the key problems that the district faces or the schools face, you have to make sure you're maximizing the use of your resources. And in this environment currently, that has become more and more of a challenge. So as you look at, obviously, financial resources dwindling, it becomes critical for you to align those in the way that makes the most sense and is going to get you the most benefit from the time that you have, from the staff that you have, from the personnel that you have, from the technology you need. And all of those things have to be aligned. In our particular situation, we make all decisions in our school district based on what the data is telling us. What we found was we were not addressing core instruction, core classroom instruction. We all know that 80 to 90% of your students should be successful with classroom instruction. General, everyday, good teaching. But we weren't spending a lot of time developing that in any kind of organized, aligned way. So we stopped all of the reading intervention programs that we had going. We reorganized everything we had around instruction. We put instructional coaches in every school for teachers and staff members, and we put student interventionists in every school to help students who were having specific kinds of issues that they needed to have addressed. So we put the emphasis on core instruction. And in order to do that, we found that the professional learning had to be as close to the instruction as possible and as close to the environment in which our staff members were working. And so with the instructional coaches in the building, that took a lot of realigning of the financial resources as well as staff members, because we came up with nearly 60 instructional coaches. Now these were master teachers who for a long time had been models of excellent classroom core instruction. Those people began to work on a daily basis with teachers based on the data from the learning of the students in that classroom. As we look at the student learning data, we decided that we needed time for staff on a regular basis to follow the data, find out what it meant, not just look at it, but interpret it, analyze it, and then actually apply it to everyday instruction. So we instituted 30 minutes of required collaboration as a beginning point. And that was scheduled. Individual principals found ways to release grade level teams so they could do common planning, they could meet together, they could examine their data. Those were the early stages. And what we found was, before long, teachers began to ask for more time. So with the minute requirements for so much instruction, we ended up having to look at how could we schedule the day differently. And so we were able to do half-hour delays every Wednesday morning for students and still meet the minimum instruction requirements. And then those Wednesday mornings were spent every week in data analysis and in changing core instruction for the next week. The professional learning piece of this becomes then the critical part of the allocation of the resources. You have to have the materials at hand. If you're expecting instruction to change in a classroom within a day or two so that the data changes within the next week, and you have a better view of how students are progressing or what the barriers are to each one of the students progressing, you have to make sure that you have the maximum resource allocation aligned to the goals of your school improvement plan, to the needs of the building. This took some changing of our mindsets, because that's not the way we had done business previously. We're not used to things changing that quickly, or the expectation to be that they would change that quickly. So we had to have the printed material resources that the coach needed to work with the teachers. We had to be able to provide just-in-time help sessions after school for teachers if it was a unique problem we'd uncovered in that particular time. We had to have technology available for people that was easy to access, so that teachers could go online and find the support materials that they need through the guidance of the instructional coach. And we had to have those people, the instructional coaches, actually in the building every day, so that they could support the teachers in making the changes that needed to be made, with the primary goal of changing classroom instruction and seeing the data change the next week for students, for individual students. That's a different way of thinking about the way you allocate your resources. As close to the student as you can get is what we always try to use as our guide. Get the learning, get the professional learning for the staff members as close to the student as we can get it, so that you see quick, responsive changes. So we always go back to the data. Student data, learning data, teaching data by close observation of classroom instruction, and then all of the specific learning needs of the students are aligned to the instruction, and we determine how to use our resources based on that. And we know more about instruction now than we've ever known. We know more about how children learn. We have more information at our fingertips than we've ever had before about how to perform good instruction on a regular basis.